All right, letting them in.
Cool. All right, hello everybody. We are just waiting a couple more minutes to make sure the last few attendees can join, and we should be getting here started here in just a couple minutes.
Yes, welcome everyone. And while we're waiting, we thought it would be fun for all of us to quickly introduce ourselves. So please feel free to submit any questions in the chat bubble. But if you'd like to state your name and what state that you're based out of, we'd love to hear from you. And again, thank you everyone for joining. We're going to start in just a couple of minutes. Welcome, Ellen. We're still seeing people come in, so we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. Thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, Alex, what do you think? Should we go ahead and get started here?
Yeah, let's dive right into it. Thank you, Jordan.
All right, awesome. Well, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us and welcome to our webinar today, Farming in the Cloud, presented in partnership between Xero and Figured. My name is Jordan Cooper. I lead Xero's verticals-based approach here in the US, and we're really excited to share the content that we have prepared for you guys today. I'm also excited to see a few familiar names on the attendance list, but for anybody who's joining us for the first time, we definitely want to extend a warm welcome and thank you again for joining us today. Let's take a quick look at the agenda. And in our 45-minute session today, we're going to explore the powerful solution that Xero and Figured brings to the entire farming team. We're going to kick things off by doing some brief introductions so you can meet the team that we have on the call today. We're going to take a high-level look at the agricultural space here in the US. We're going to explore what the value the partnership between Xero and Figured brings to our shared customers. We're going to walk through an overview of the Xero and Figured solution, and then we're going to pass it over to Alex so she can actually dive into the products and take it for a spin. We'll wrap everything up with how the team all comes together, and then we'll talk about some logical next steps and how you can get started on those crucial first steps on the journey. Before we jump into the rest of the presentation, though, I did want to go ahead and pop up our first polling question today. Alex, could you go ahead and pop that up for us?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. So yeah, it looks like we've got some partners offering CAS services. We've got CAS and compliance services. Awesome. Thank you guys for responding to that poll. So since I've already had the chance to introduce myself today, I did want to take a second to introduce you guys to the other team members we have joining us on the call. We have Alexandra Henley, who is a partner success manager at Figured, and she's going to walk us through a live demo of these joint solutions in just a little bit. I've actually had the privilege of working really closely with Alex on a number of projects over the last few years, and I'm definitely really grateful that she's joining us today and going to bring her expertise to you all as well. Now, as you guys can see for this particular webinar, you don't have the ability to come off mute and ask questions directly to myself or Alex, but you can pop those questions into the comments in the Q&A section within Zoom. We're going to do our best to address them as they come through, and we're more than happy to walk you through it on a one-on-one basis as well after the webinar. And with that, behind the keyboards, we do have Rachel Slade. Rachel is the sales director at Figured for North America. So again, we encourage you guys to pop those questions in as we go along, and we're going to do our best to kind of address them and answer them as we go. But now that you guys have had a chance to meet the team, let's go ahead and jump on into it. So here at Xero, we really love data, and we especially like to be able to take that data, interpret it, and attempt to make it a little bit more meaningful for our partners and the businesses that we serve. So back in early March of this year, we set out and we did a ton of research into all the different verticals and industries that we serve here in the US in an attempt to try and bring some clarity to our partners and how to best service and work with clients in this space. And today I wanted to point out some of the findings that we discovered in our research when it comes to agriculture here in North America. So when it comes to technology adoption and technology use, about 15% of the respondents are already using a cloud accounting solution, which is right about at the average of what we saw across all the industries that we researched. Now, of those not using cloud technology, a staggering 44% are actually still using spreadsheets and or pen and paper to prepare some component of their financial data. And what these findings really illustrate is the enormous opportunity that does exist to help shepherd and transition these clients to a cloud solution like Xero and Figured. Now, when we ask these people, what's stopping you from making that jump to the cloud? The two things that jumped out were both the complexity and the lack of trust and security were kind of holding these customers from making the switch. Now, the good news is that the transition to the cloud really doesn't have to be all that complex. And Alex and I are routinely seeing the initial learning curve to be relatively quick and pain-free. And we're also seeing partners and clients are rewarded with significantly greater efficiencies and less complexity once that transition has taken place. When it comes to security concerns, we often find that pointing out that if a client is already using online banking, they can be confident and they can rest assured that the security of their data in Xero and Figured is both built with multi-level data encryption, and we do have security standards that match that of the major financial institutions out there. Taking a quick look at business advisory use in the ag space, 91% of people in the ag space and farmers are actually using an accountant, and of those, about 80% are using a CPA, while about 10% are also using a bookkeeper. And as we can see, of those using an expert for their financial needs, the influence that this advisor has on their choice is very high, especially when we compare that to the other industries that we research. And that shows us the trust and the value of the trust that these clients have for the advice that you guys as experts provide to them, especially when it comes to the tools and technology that they adopt. Now, on the other hand, the need for a really progressive accountant was not seen as a major differentiator for agricultural clients. Instead, they favor working with firms that look and feel a little bit more traditional and have more traditional ways of doing business. Furthermore, the expertise and knowledge in the specific industry of agriculture, as well as personal relationships, were the two most important attributes that were evaluated when considering working with an advisor or an accountant. Now, these results can definitely help you inform you guys on the best way to market your practice so you can better match with the clients that you're looking to help and support. When we ask these customers what key tasks are performed outside of the common accounting functions, the resounding answer in the ag space was asset management, and that came in at 52%, which compared to the average across other industries was only at about 26%. Now, this focus on asset management reinforces the importance of having a robust system in place so you can go out and tackle those unique operating conditions in agriculture. And farmers are increasingly becoming more and more interested how their largest assets, things like land and livestock, are performing, and maybe more importantly, how can they drive the most value over their life cycle. Some of the other key tasks included things like financial management, inventory management, as well as document and file management. We all know the personality of our clients really affects the relationship that we can build and form with our clients, and identifying and respecting that individual nature of each and every client is really imperative to building that strong, solid, and long-lasting relationship. And so for those reasons, we actually examined each industry and we asked them to kind of describe themselves as a personality as a way to try and prime our partners to think deeper about the relationships they currently have with their clients and how they could actually make them stronger over time. So when we ask these people in the agricultural space, they often describe themselves as being efficient, very realistic, and down to earth, while fewer of them said that they were a networker, that they were leading edge, and that they were risk averse. Again, these insights can really help us shift our mindset and the way that we not only work, but the way that we advise and work with our clients as well. So now that we've seen kind of a snapshot of the agricultural industry, let's go ahead and dive into the Xero and Figured solution together. So Xero works hand in hand with Figured to bring an accounting solution to the ag sector. What we do is we combine financial data with Xero with up-to-date production information on a really powerful planning, forecasting, and benchmarking platform like Figured to get an accurate view of a farm's financial position at any moment in time. And it makes it really easy to manage that farm's accounts. There's a lot less ambiguity about the financial health of their farm, and your clients know exactly where they stand, which is going to boost their confidence and empower them to really shape the future of the farm. So Xero at its core really provides you all the tools that you need to take care of the numbers while simplifying a lot of the everyday business tasks by doing things like automated bank reconciliations, invoicing, expenses, and obviously so much more. Xero is essentially the source of truth for all the financial information for your clients. And a lot of the feedback we get from the partners who currently use Xero and why they like it for agricultural clients is it empowers them to provide real-time insights and provide more high-value advice for their clients. It also gives them a much more accurate view of a farm's financial position at any moment, and it helps these clients become more proactive in their decisions and create a stronger business over time. It also streamlines a lot of those manual bookkeeping tasks and data entry, and it overall enables you to focus on the data, leverage it for decision making, and not work hard just doing data entry day in and day out. It also unlocks the potential to collaborate with the entire farming team wherever they tend to be working. And with Xero's unlimited users, it does allow you to invite in all the stakeholders into Xero, where you can easily share and collaborate around that same set of up-to-date financial and production information. Jumping over to Figured, which is designed to work really closely with Xero, Figured provides farmers and their advisors with real-time production tracking, budgeting, and reporting information. And this solution also allows advisors to free up capacity to offer a much more valuable and supportive service to their farming clients. Figured is the world's first platform to provide farmers and their advisors with immediate access to financial data and insights to drive better decision making. And some of the things that customers love the most about Figured is the ability to track your production and link it back to your financials for that real-time analysis. And the transaction flow between Figured and Xero is absolutely seamless. The flexible budget analysis is a huge value add and is designed to meet the needs of your farming clients. You could do things like use crop seasons and livestock trackers to keep track of profitability and inventory throughout the entire year. You can leverage the scenario planning tool to view how current decisions are going to impact future results of the farm. And all the reports are linked into Xero to keep the entire team constantly updated and in sync. And Xero and Figured can bring value not only to your clients, but also to you as the advisor to your practice. And some of the benefits to your practice that we've seen firsthand from the customers that we share is really focused around enhancing your position as that valued contributor to a more financially sustainable farming operation and becoming that agri-advisor of choice within the communities that you operate within. You can also help your clients solve regulatory financial compliance, people compliance, budgeting, and forecasting needs. And with the Xero and Figured solution, you can essentially offer your clients a relevant, accurate, and timely advice in a very scalable and repeatable way. So some of the things that our partners enjoy the most is the ability to go ahead and scale those advisory and planning conversations. They feel like they're a more valued contributor to the farmer's business decisions. They're using data to drive proactive conversations with their clients. They're empowering their clients by giving them real-time understanding of their current financial position, and ultimately just giving them relevant advice using granular, accurate, and timely data when they need it the most. Some of the benefits to the farmers that use our products are, and with everything else that farmers have to deal with, a lot of times the last thing that they need is to lose crucial time and hours on things like manual data entry and trying to decipher a really complex report. So giving these clients an up-to-date view of their whole business can really help them formulate and build a clear strategy moving into the future. They'll be able to see the complete picture for all their business operations. You're going to be able to give access to that one farming team and enable their collaboration. They're going to save a ton of time with a lot less manual data entry. They can leverage scenario tools to go ahead and plan ahead. They can budget and forecast a whole lot more efficiently and overall create a sustainable, profitable business and a lasting legacy for future generations to come. So we've talked a bit about how the flow of information between Xero and Figured is seamless. And the connection essentially allows for automated transfer of data from one system to another without skipping or missing a beat. And Figured is designed specifically to integrate with Xero, and it pulls in the financial information from your Xero account, things like your chart of accounts, your bank account movements, which then links in with your livestock reconciliation and financial reports to automatically update production tracking and farm budgets as well. Figured then has the ability to push livestock and crop sales and purchases directly into Xero to keep both the farm and the financial side of things constantly in balance. And with the data flow back to Xero, you can then leverage the powerful reporting capabilities within Xero to easily create custom reporting packages with just the click of a button. Lastly, layering in additional integrations such as the new AgWorld integration with Figured and things like HubDoc are going to ensure that agri-businesses are now more connected, more efficient, and more precise for their farming customers. With that, let's now go ahead and pass it over to Alex so she can go ahead and take these products for a spin. So Alex, why don't you go ahead and take over here?
Great. Thank you so much, Jordan. I appreciate the introduction there. So I figured at this section of the webinar, we're actually going to dive into a live Figured account that's connected to Xero and go through some of the concepts that Jordan just described and show you actual examples. So I'm just going to share my screen with everyone. Just give me one moment. And welcome. I noticed we had a few new people joining us today, so thank you so much. All right, Jordan, are you able to see my screen?
You're looking good, Alex.
All right, perfect. All right, so before I kind of dive into the product itself, just to recap what Jordan said, Figured combines financial planning, production tracking, and management reporting all in a cloud-based platform. And that really does empower farming teams to have immediate access to financial information and insights about their farms or their clients' farms' performance. Now, before we go into the subsections, there are 3 stages to work through in Figured towards advisory services. There's the now, the where, and then the how. So it's all about understanding the now and what's happening on your client's farm by using crop seasons and livestock trackers to keep track of profitability throughout the year. Advisory is also about working towards the where. So with scenarios in Figured, you can model out the long-term financial impact of major decisions or changes in your client's business and help them grow their 5 to 10-year vision. Which leads us to the how. How can we put that plan into action? By forming a flexible monthly plan and by reviewing that against Xero's actuals with a variance report, you could better guide your clients to achieve their long-term financial goals. And what's really interesting about this, according to a recent survey conducted by CK.com, nearly 2/3 of clients said that the most desirable advisory services they could receive were guidance regarding revenue growth and business modeling, followed by budgeting. So to start the journey, we need to understand the now, and that's going to take me to the operations section of Figured. Operation trackers are a way to keep track of different enterprises on the farm. So in this example here, we're tracking crops, livestock, and dairy. However, you do have the ability to create customized trackers to meet your client's enterprise needs. So each tracker will account for the production activity on the farm tied back to that financial data. So in the first example, I'm going to take a look at the corn 2020 harvest year. And when we click into the tracker, we see all of our other costs and income have been captured related to the season. We also see our production input, and we're also defining what that looks like at a field level. At the top of our trackers, we have a very quick key performance indicator that will give you a snapshot of the cost of production for that specific season. So this is understanding the now. We're tracking our inventory against the financial data that's coming through in from Xero. And we could even dive a bit further into detail by viewing the breakdown of these transactions. So in this example here, I'm going to look at how much product I've either sold or used for feed. And by kind of viewing these transactions, we could see how Xero connects to Figured, and we're able to add that extra layer of production on top of it. So by looking at my crop season tracker, the main goal here is to track our inventory movements, what comes in out of a season and what goes out. In here, I could distill this number down even further to understand all of my harvests in the 2021 season, sales, and if I used it for any other reasons, such as used for feed or seed. And to show you how we do connect seamlessly to Xero, you could easily go into each individual transaction, and each transaction will have a hyperlink that brings you back to that transaction in Xero. So it's very easy to see what's happening on the Xero side of the equation, along with the Figured side. Just going to X out of there. So now that we're seeing all these inputs that could go against your crop season, and we have a clear understanding of the now, we could gather important insights by viewing the outputs within the crop season summary report. So found in our reporting section, we could see all of this data surface up into the crop season summary. And here we could really drill into the productivity of your season and your farm. So if I want to select my corn 2020 season, and again, we were just looking at that tracker where we're getting all those inputs. Now I kind of want to see the outputs. How did I produce at a field level? What was my most expensive cost? And we're able to drill down into this a little bit further by understanding tracker profit broken down by field level and all other associated costs that we've distributed to that season. So by understanding this now, you could get a clear understanding of what your crop season looks like. And then you could help your clients answer really important questions such as, do I renew a field lease the following year? This is why this information is important and to keep track. Now, it's important to keep in mind that when we're looking at trackers in Figured, all of the data is intimately tied to the actual transactions flowing to and from Figured. So Figured has the ability to create actual transactions in Xero first, as well as the ability to send actual transactions back to Xero, such as a sale or a cost. This offers optimal flexibility to best support your clients and their business models. To demonstrate this flow, I'm actually going to show you a transaction that I created in Xero first. And here we have an example of a livestock sale transaction. Now, what Figured will be doing on the other side, we're going to notice that in my cattle herd, that Figured is recognizing an inconsistent balance. This is because we input this transaction in Xero, and we have to then reconcile that amount in Figured so that we can get an accurate stock movement across your stock classes. So within the livestock tracker, I see all of my stock classes that I'm tracking, my opening balance, And then when I refer to movements, I refer to, did you have a birth per stock class? Did we purchase a new calf? Was there a death? And you're able to add a value and a quantity against all of these. So in the example that I just showed you in Xero, if I click on this cell here, I'm going to notice that there is an unreconciled sale. And again, we want the numbers to balance out what we see in Xero to be the same in Figured. And it's just as simple as selecting import from Xero. The transaction that we just viewed up in Xero is now imported. And once we confirm the data, we could just check this off. And now you could see in real time, my quantity on hand updated. So now I have -4 because it's a sale and the accounts have balanced out. So I'm going to hop back to the main page. And the next item that I want to explore is how do we bring a more in-depth service to clients? And that's going to lead us to our scenarios tool. Now, Figured Scenarios is set up to model out 5 to 10-year plans on an annual basis, not a monthly basis. And the reason why this scenarios tool is so powerful is because it leverages data that you have already input, so you could import your last year's actuals as a baseline model, and it could be done quickly. So common examples that we see services use is maybe modeling out debt. Do you want to consolidate, repay, or take out a new loan? Is your client interested in purchasing more property or your neighbor's farm? Is it going to make you more efficient, or will you go into the red line? Or what if your client is looking to change your operation? Is it going to be more or less profitable than the last year? So take a look at scenarios. I already have one a bit modeled out, and this is for a 2022 farm expansion plan. And to start off, we want to set up an opening position. And what an open position does, it is where we enter the farmer's assets and liabilities to understand what's on hand. The next stage of setting up a scenario is creating an opening proposition, which is where we input the information in the scenario that we're modeling out. And it's just as easy as clicking on a cell, inputting an asset that you're interested in. So in this example, I would like to buy more property with the effective purchase date and what the value is assigned to it. You could also add revaluations or other sales into this equation. So you can make the models as simple as you would like, or you can make them extremely complex. Once I've modeled out my proposition and I feel comfortable with that, then you have the ability to update your income and other expenses. Again, this could also be tied to your actuals if you have tracker and production information already stored in Figured, which is coming through from Xero. Or again, you could easily click on a cell and input the data and create a spread based upon historical content. Once we're happy with our scenario, you're able to review it and then move on to the report section. And we hear a ton of farmer stories where they want to go approach lenders and they love having the standard 5-year output flow, the cash flow, P&L, and balance sheet report. So this puts them in a very strong position to present their case if they are looking to expand their property and they're looking for a loan. And here we could see a breakdown of all those numbers. We could also see over the 5-year period, our equity percentage change in our favor. And then we could drill down a little bit further and see a couple of key indicators that maps all of this information out into a few nice visuals. And again, the great thing about having the scenarios tool is within 10 to 20 minutes, you can model out a very comprehensive plan, 5 or 10 years down the line for your client. And they can feel confident presenting this information if they are looking for that initial investment to plan out the rest of the year. So speaking of planning, now that we have a clear understanding of the now and what's happening to your client's farm, and we also modeled out a vision of the where, so where your clients want to be or their business to be in the next 5 years, that brings us to the how. How do we get there? And in order to get to plan out for 5 years, you need to do detailed planning. And that's where the planning grid and forecasting comes into play with Figured. So I just entered our planning grid. And as you can see here, we have all of our tracker inventory numbers. And then we also have all of our other operating expenses and incomes. Any number that is highlighted in blue here, this is an actual. And again, if I click on this number, this will link me right back to the transaction account in Xero. So again, you could see that constant connectivity between the two. And then if you're looking to plan out in the future, you could continue moving forward by planning in these white cells, or we could even jump into 2022. And we could start modeling out our budget. So in this example, you're going to notice that I already have some numbers in here starting from January 22 and onward. One way to quickly plan is you could import your actuals from last year, a snapshot or a file. This establishes a good starting ground to understand where your client's business was, what the status quo may be into the next year, and then you could go in and make updates accordingly. Once we're happy with our plan for 2022, we encourage users to take a snapshot. And what this feature does is it captures all of this data at that point in time. And then you could take that file and upload it in our series of financial and comparative reports that Figured offers. So you could see if your client is on plan to reach their 5-year goal of buying new land, or if they're off and what you have to do to change that. Another thing to note about the planning grid is that you could easily toggle between actuals and forecasts. And also you could view it in a cash view or a profit view. So depending on who is looking at this data, they may be interested in viewing a different point of view. And now that brings us into the reporting section. So now that we covered the now, where, and how, which all ties around tracking and inventory numbers, laying upon the actual transactions that are pulling through in Xero, and then modeling out scenarios of where your clients can go with their farming operation and planning that in detail through the planning grid, we're able to look at a different suite of reports. So within Figured, you could view your financial reports, production reports, tracker reports, and end of year trading statements if it pertains to your client. And one of the great things about these reports is within each report, you have the option to add some comparative tools. So in this example, I'm looking at my cash flow. I kind of want to do a comparison period from 2020 showing actuals to this current month. When I run the report, it's going to take a look at all of my accounts. So everything in blue is from 2020 and everything in white is from 2021. So this is a very easy way to quickly do a cross-comparative analysis of your cash flow from the year before to the current year. On top of these suite of reports, we could also do a variance report if you're looking for that point of comparison from a snapshot, or we could take it a level further. And you'll notice under the accounting section, we have a lot of amazing tools, including the statement of financial position. The statement of financial position enables the user to view what they currently have on hand in Xero. So you're going to notice the Xero value against a Figured value. This is where you can add the fair market value to specific assets and also add revaluations to those assets or liabilities depending on what your client has. So in here, we could see some information pulling through from our trackers. So we have our cattle valuation. And then we could also drill into some other non-current assets. So right here, I could predict my current farmland will actually go up in value over X amount of years. So we could model for that scenario. Or if you have a line of credit or a loan, we could look at interest rates, repayments, overdrafts. So we could really drill into that level of detail by opening up these different sections. Once you have a statement of financial position that you're comfortable with, you could easily present this to your client and the farm management team by simply going up to settings, right into the reports tab. And then you could run the report and share it. The great thing about saving and sharing this report is that it's going to generate a file that you could easily go into the numbers and make a comment on. So if your client is available at the time and you're just reviewing their data, you could easily go in, create a comment, and then share this file with your client or with their lender. So tying back to the beginning, Figured is really meant to be a collaborative effort of both the farmer, the advisor, and anyone else that's involved in these important decisions. And again, it starts with the actuals coming through from Xero, being able to track all of the inventory and add production value against it, and then taking that and doing a comprehensive analysis of where we currently are and how do we plan for the future. And then we get to the state where you're not only planning or budgeting for your client's 2022 year, you're looking into 2023 and 2024. So that's a quick tour of Figured. Jordan, I'll let you take it back unless there are any questions.
All right, Alex, can you give me the thumbs up that you can see the slide deck again?
All good.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. And thank you so much for that great demo. It's always great to see the powerful combination of the world's most beautiful accounting software and the best in breed agricultural planning tool kind of working together. So we've talked quite a bit today around this idea and this concept of bringing that entire team together in the cloud. And I want to just take a closer look at what this actually looks like. So for the on-farm teams, Figured is the only farm accounting software that enables and allows that whole farming team to collaborate around that same data in real time from wherever they happen to be working. For your clients, budgeting is easier and always up to date with data coming in from Xero. And when decisions on the farm need to be made, they are supported by facts and by the most current information. For you, the trusted advisor, this combo really streamlines the compliance work by cutting down data entry time so you can lift and elevate the value of the services that you provide to your clients. And finally, for the bankers, which in our research is an expert that has shown to be significantly trusted by agricultural clients, the data provided by both these systems helps to secure lending to manage and grow the farming operations well into the future. And overall, together, Xero and Figured offers a complete solution for staying on top of today's finances and helps the team plan with confidence for anything that might come into the future. I do want to take about 15 seconds to go ahead and pause so we can launch our last polling question for the webinar today. So Alex, can you go ahead and pop that up?
Yep, let me just get that for everyone. So my apologies, the first poll was reset. So I'm going to send out this new one. All right. And what we're curious to learn, because we've been talking about client advisory services, is if you and your team are currently offering these services, and also what type of services and or compliance services are you guys offering? Again, thank you so much. We appreciate everyone that's joining and for submitting this information.
Awesome. All right. So as we wrap up on our presentation for today, we want to leave you with some logical next steps on how you yourself can become that agri champion in your continuous pursuit of trying to make life better for the clients that you serve. And the first step to becoming a champion is really to get certified. When it comes to Xero, the Xero certification allows you to get the most out of Xero and better serve your clients on the platform. You can go ahead and get set up, you can add clients, and you can carry out everyday tasks through the certification program. You can complete it online, you can join a webinar, or if you have some experience using Xero, you could take the fast track assessment as well. The Figured certification is a program that spans all the different parts of Figured, from the core concepts to building a budget, to setting up a tracker, and really everything in between, which then comes together with a final certification test. Now, both Xero and Figured, we have dedicated resource centers to support our partners on every step of the journey. And these are great places to find everything from how to promote your services to your clients to managing and working with the platform on a day-to-day basis. So taking these steps are going to definitely put you down the path of becoming an agricultural champion. And as always, Xero and Figured are here to support. So please don't hesitate to reach out to Alex, Rachel, or myself if you have any questions. And we do have dedicated account managers that are eager and ready to assist you as well. But this does bring us to the end of the webinar today. We really thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed the content. Thank you so much for joining us today and for exploring accounting for agriculture in the cloud with Xero and Figured. On behalf of Alex and Rachel, take care, and thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.